Obedient. Episode 1. Smile Neutral. Chapter 1. Surveillance Weather. Part 1. Wake Sequence. The room does not have darkness. It has a dim setting. The ceiling is a single pale panel that glows the same way a screen glows when it is not playing anything. The air is cool, cleaned, and faintly dry, as if it has been filtered too many times. Kara Vale lies on her back in a narrow bed molded to her body. The sheet is grey, pinned tight at the corners with a hospital neatness. Her hands rest on top of it, palms down, fingers straight. Even asleep, she looks arranged. A thin line of light runs along the baseboard. It pulses once. A sound follows. Not a beep, not music, something like a soft chime, designed to stop before it becomes interesting. Kara's eyes open. She does not stretch. She does not sigh. Her pupils adjust in silence. On the inside of her left forearm, just above the wrist bone, red digits glow beneath the skin. The numbers are crisp, like a display, sealed in glass. 38 years, 119 days, 6 hours, 19 minutes. The minutes tick down with a patient insistence, as if the system enjoys being right. A camera in the corner of the ceiling rotates a few degrees, not to stare, to record that she has awakened. A second lens behind the ceiling panel opens and closes like a blinking eye. Mechanical. No emotion in it, just function. The wall opposite the bed wakes with her, flattening into a pale interface. A voice arrives, pleasant in a way that feels practiced, smooth in a way that feels manufactured.
Good morning, Citizen Vale. Wake confirmation received. Vital signs within approved range.
A thin bar scrolls across the wall. Heart rate, oxygen saturation, respiration. Everything that can be counted, counted. Kara keeps her face still. The stillness is not a performance. It is a habit, with sharp edges. The sheet retracts by 2 centimeters. An automated cue, a small push toward the day. Kara sits up because she is expected to sit up. Her feet meet the floor. The floor is slightly warm, as if to prevent the body from developing preferences. A faint mist releases from a vent at ankle height. Not fragrance, sanitizer vapor that disappears before it can become a smell.
Mandatory morning facial neutrality calibration will begin in 10 seconds.
A circle appears on the wall. Inside it, a neutral face rendered in clean lines. No tension in the brow, no lift at the mouth, no softness around the eyes. Not blank, approved. A countdown starts. 10. Kara turns her head toward the wall at a measured pace, aligning her gaze with the center of the circle. She stands in the marked rectangle on the floor, thin white lines that tell her where her toes should be. 9. A small panel on the wall slides open with a whisper. A sensor cluster extends, lenses, infrared points, a thin strip of light, like a scalpel. 8. Kara rolls her shoulders once, just enough to settle joints. Nothing more. 7. Her chronochip digits continue their steady drop. The seconds do not display. They are felt. 6. The sensor strip brightens, drawing a clean line of light over her face from left to right. 5. Kara's lips meet in a straight, precise line. Her jaw loosens without dropping. 4.
Please assume the face of order.
3. Kara inhales through her nose, a controlled amount, the kind of breath that leaves no trace behind it. 2. Her eyes fix, not wide, not soft, not sharp, calibrated. 1. A tone sounds flat, official. The wall face remains perfectly neutral, waiting to be mirrored. Kara mirrors it. For a moment, the room is nothing but the quiet work of being watched. The sensor strip scans again. Tiny dots of light flicker over Kara's cheeks, the corners of her mouth, the skin under her eyes, measuring micro-movements that the body makes without permission. A thin line of text appears under the circle. Neutrality acquiring. Kara does not move. The circle tightens. The rendered face on the wall subtly shifts, fractionally, clinically, toward an even stricter neutrality. Kara matches it without hesitation, as if her face is a tool being adjusted. The text changes. Neutrality locked. A soft click. The sensor cluster retracts.
Calibration complete. Thank you for your compliance.
Kara's forearm pulses, warm under the skin, like a tiny heartbeat that belongs to someone else. New text appears on the wall, centered and unavoidable. Emotion compliance score. Daily baseline pending. Kara looks at it for exactly 1 second. Then she turns and walks toward the bathroom without speeding up, her bare feet making almost no sound on the warmed floor. Part 2. The bathroom scan. She turns and walks toward the bathroom without speeding up, her bare feet making almost no sound on the warmed floor. The bathroom door is not a door so much as a panel that recognizes her approach and slides aside with the restrained politeness of machinery. Inside, everything is white without being bright. The sink is a single, seamless curve. The faucet has no handle. The toilet has no lid. Nothing here invites choice. Choice makes room for feeling. The mirror spans the wall above the sink. It is a mirror only when it decides to be one. Kara steps to the marked spot on the floor. Another thin rectangle, another set of lines telling her where to stand. The panel slides shut behind her with a soft seal, like the room is taking a breath it doesn't need. The mirror becomes her face. Not softened, not forgiving. The mirror shows pores, tiny veins near the eyes, the faint dryness at the corners of her mouth. It shows everything except mercy. A thin band of text glides across the top edge of the glass. Morning hygiene. Sequence active. Micro-expression monitoring enabled. Kara's chrono chip digits glow red beneath her skin, reflected in the mirror like a second set of eyes watching her. She raises her left forearm slightly, just enough to bring the numbers into the scanner's preferred range. A small icon appears, an outline of a face with a grid overlay.
Please recite your pledge.
Kara looks directly at herself. She does not look into herself. That would be unsafe. Her mouth opens with minimal movement.
I will hold the face of order.
The words come out level, measured, neither proud nor ashamed. The pledge is not supposed to mean anything. Meaning creates heat. The mirror flashes a pale line across her eyes. A second line follows across her mouth. A third traces the edges of her nostrils. A scan is a kind of touch. It just doesn't ask permission. Text appears in the lower corner of the mirror in neat, clinical font. Emotion. Compliance score. 98.7%. The number settles there like a verdict. Kara's gaze does not change, but her body does something small, something almost not worth naming. A faint tightening in one eyelid. The residue of sleep, a muscle remembering that it is allowed to be lazy. The mirror catches it. A tone snaps through the room, sharp and brief. A yellow frame appears around her reflected face. Warning: facial aberration detected. Category: inadvertent expression, fatigue twitch. Correct immediately. Kara corrects immediately. It is not dramatic. It is a microscopic rearranging. Eyelid loosened, brow flattened, mouth edges pinned to neutral. The warning frame vanishes. A new line replaces it. Correction accepted. No time deduction applied. Kara does not exhale with relief. Relief would be an emotion. She leans forward and places her hands on either side of the sink. The surface is warm enough to feel alive and sterile enough to feel dead. The faucet activates when her hands enter the sensor field. Water streams in a perfect ribbon, neither hot nor cold. Temperature neutral, like everything else that matters. She wets a cloth. The cloth is thin and disposable. The state does not like anything that lasts. Kara wipes her face in 3 precise motions: forehead, left cheek, right cheek. Then discards the cloth into a slot that swallows it without sound. The toothbrush is waiting in a recessed compartment. It rises when she reaches for it. The paste dispenses itself, a grey gel that tastes of nothing and lingers like a memory you didn't ask for. As she brushes, the mirror overlays a faint wireframe on her face, tracking her mouth's movement, policing the corners for any lift that might suggest satisfaction or disgust. Even the body's smallest preferences are treated like contraband. Kara spits. The sink drains instantly, as if nothing should remain. She rinses. 1 measured mouthful. She does not gargle. Gargling can look like laughter if seen from the wrong angle. The mirror clears. For half a second, it is only her reflection, an ordinary woman with ordinary eyes that do not get to be ordinary. Then a notification slides down the glass, pale red. Overnight event summary, departmental relevance. Kara's brush pauses at the edge of the sink. Not a freeze, a hold.
Citizen Vale. Your department has received a high-priority overnight violation report.
A small square of video appears in the upper right of the mirror. It shows a hallway camera view from somewhere in the city. Fluorescent lighting, grey walls, a couple standing side by side. The woman's face is rigid. The man's eyes are glassy. Between them, a hovering drone projects text into the air. Expiration. Notice delivered. The man's mouth trembles. Not much. Not even enough to call it a sob. Just a flicker, the body trying to do what bodies do when they lose someone. The drone's lens tightens. A red outline snaps around his face. Kara watches without any change in expression. The mirror captions it with detached precision. Subject: J. Howell. Offense: emotional response during spouse expiration. Notice: time reduction: 7.3 years. Status: active monitoring.
Protocol reminder: emotional display is a threat to communal stability.
Kara sets the toothbrush back into its compartment. It retracts like it never existed. Her fingers rest on the sink's edge. The skin of her knuckles is dry. The mirror's light makes it look almost chalky.
Acknowledged.
Additional note: your calendar has been adjusted to include an 8-minute behavioral optimization briefing at 7:40.
Kara's chrono chip pulses again, as if the mention of scheduling is meant to soothe her. She lifts her forearm, and the mirror highlights the digits automatically, enlarging them in a translucent overlay. 38 years, 119 days, 6 hours, 18 minutes. The minutes continue to fall. Kara lowers her arm. She stares at herself a moment longer than necessary, just long enough for the mirror's grid to tighten. Suspicious. A small prompt appears at the bottom of the glass. Mood check, mandatory. Select calm/calm/calm. Kara taps the only option without looking. The mirror returns to plain reflection. Kara turns toward the door panel. It slides open. The air outside the bathroom feels the same as the air inside. It is all one controlled system. She steps out, face still locked, and the panel seals behind her again, with that soft, breath-like sound. Part 3. The Hallway Pass. The air smells faintly of sterilizer and something metallic, like coins held too long in a closed fist. A thin speaker strip runs the length of the corridor at shoulder height, recessed into the wall as if the building has veins. A low tone begins, almost below hearing. Not music, a timing cue. Kara steps into it. Her feet find the pace the tone suggests. Not fast, not slow, correct. 2 doors down, a panel slides open and a man exits. Mid-30s, grey work uniform, no insignia visible until the light catches it. Transit sanitation. He does not look at Kara. Looking invites recognition. Recognition invites feeling. They approach each other from opposite ends of the corridor, both walking inside the same silent metronome. A second tone joins the first, slightly higher, slightly insistent. The man adjusts his stride by a fraction to match. Kara adjusts by a fraction too, not because she needs to, but because the building expects the illusion of unity. They pass. No nod, no greeting, no breath that could be interpreted as annoyance or warmth. A camera above them pivots a few degrees, tracking the exchange that is not an exchange. Kara keeps her eyes forward. Halfway down the corridor, a cluster of residents moves as one toward the stairwell. 3 women in identical coats, hair pinned back the same way, hands held at their sides like mannequins. Behind them, an elderly man comes out slower, his knees arguing with the mandated pace. A tiny hesitation builds in the formation, an almost collision that would require human acknowledgement to correct. A chime sounds, not harsh, not loud, just enough. A projected arrow appears on the wall. Adjust spacing. Everyone adjusts spacing. No one looks at anyone. Kara reaches the point where the corridor widens toward the elevator bank. The floor pattern changes here. Small squares that guide foot placement. The building makes even walking a compliance test. The elevator doors are already open, as if anticipating the flow. A woman steps out carrying a small bag marked Nutrition Unit, Issue 3. She holds it in both hands like it contains something fragile, though nothing issued is ever fragile enough to be loved. The woman pauses when she sees Kara. Not to greet, to calculate who should move first, according to the silent hierarchy. Kara stops exactly 1 step from the elevator threshold. The woman passes. The bag brushes Kara's sleeve. A normal person might say, "Excuse me." Kara says nothing. The woman says nothing. The elevator's interior is lined with dull metal panels and a mirror that is not for vanity, it is for confirmation. A small display reads, "Capacity 12, current 0, emotion monitoring." Active. Kara does not enter. She turns left instead, toward the stairwell. Stairs are encouraged. Stairs show effort. Effort earns time. Not always, but sometimes, and sometimes is enough to build a habit. The stairwell door opens with a hiss. A gust of cooler air meets her face like a gloved hand. The stairwell is concrete and narrow, painted a flat, institutional grey. The steps are shallow. The handrail is warm from constant use. A camera sits above the landing, aimed down the flights like a predator that doesn't need to move. Kara starts down. The tone from the corridor follows her here too, faint through the walls. The building's heartbeat. 1 floor down, the door on the landing swings open and a mother steps out with a child. The child is maybe 6, small enough to still have softness in the cheeks that the system will soon train away. The child wears the same grey as everyone else, but the sleeves are slightly too long, as if the state has issued the next size up to save resources. The mother's grip on the child's wrist is firm, more like control than guidance. They stop when they see Kara coming down. The mother's face is neutral in the practiced way, but her eyes flicker once. Anxiety quickly buried. The child looks up, and the child smiles. Not broad, not theatrical. A tiny lift at one corner of the mouth, a bright mistake that lasts less than a second. Kara feels something tighten in her stomach. Not fear exactly, something older. A reflex that doesn't have permission. The mother sees it a heartbeat later. Her hand moves. It is not a slap the way it is in old films. There is no swing, no anger performed. It is a sharp correction, palm to the child's cheek. Quick, contained, efficient. The child's head turns. The smile dies instantly. The mother leans down close, mouth near the child's ear. She does not whisper loudly enough to be heard by the stairwell's microphones, but she mouths the word with terrifying clarity. Neutral. The child's eyes shine, water collecting. The body's betrayal preparing another violation. The mother's fingers tighten around the wrist. Her expression remains level, but her jaw shifts. Pressure behind the neutrality. She glances up at the camera above the landing, then at Kara, as if Kara might be an extension of the system. Kara's face stays still. The mother nods once, a mechanical acknowledgement, not gratitude. The child stares at Kara, eyes wide, lips flattened too hard in imitation of adult control. Kara continues downward, stepping past them. Her shoulder passes the child at close range. For a moment, she can smell the child. Warm skin, faint detergent, something human that hasn't been scrubbed away yet. As Kara takes the next step, the stairwell speaker emits a soft chime. A small projected message appears on the wall near the landing camera. Micro-expression event. Recorded subjects, multiple status, under review. The mother's posture stiffens. The child's lower lip trembles, then clamps shut like a trap. Kara does not look back. She keeps descending, each footfall placed carefully, the muscles of her face held in place like a mask bolted from the inside. Part 4. The news feed. She keeps descending, each footfall placed carefully, the muscles of her face held in place like a mask bolted from the inside. The air grows cooler as she goes down. The smell changes from sterile soap to damp concrete, like a place designed for bodies but not for comfort. Her steps stay consistent. The building tracks cadence. Cadence is a kind of confession. At the bottom landing, a final door waits, heavy, grey, and stamped with a small emblem, Civic Transport Access. A lens above it reads her face as she approaches. The door unlocks with a click that sounds too much like a tooth snapping into place. Kara pushes through. The connector hall is wider than the housing corridor, but it feels smaller because it is louder with silence. People move through it in lanes marked on the floor. Arrows, numbered segments, small instructional icons showing neutral faces. A line of screens runs overhead, playing the same looping message in different phrasing. Compliance is longevity. Neutrality is safety. Time is earned. The words drift past like clouds that never rain. Kara joins a stream of commuters heading toward the tram tunnel. No one is late. No one is early. The city is built to make punctuality unavoidable. At the mouth of the tunnel, a security arch hums softly. It isn't checking for weapons. It's checking for everything else. She steps under it. A thin ripple of light passes over her skin, down her face, across her forearms. Her chrono chip warms slightly, acknowledging the scan. The tunnel beyond is long and dim, lit by strips that run along the walls like veins of cold fire. The tram platform is visible ahead, clean, metallic, and too orderly to feel real. Kara walks. Halfway down the tunnel, her left forearm pulses. Not warmth this time, a sharper vibration, like a warning disguised as a notification. Her vision flickers. A translucent overlay snaps into place across the world, centered in front of her eyes as if the city has decided what she should see. Public Compliance Bulletin. Required viewing. A small icon spins, an eye inside a clock. Then text. J. Howell, time reduction, 7.3 years. Offense, emotional response during spouse expiration. Notice. Reminder. Emotion is contagion. A thumbnail video appears again. Howell's face outlined in red, his mouth trembling, the drone's projection hovering between him and his rigid spouse. Kara keeps walking. Around her, the other commuters receive the same overlay. Kara can tell because their eyes fix forward in the same unfocused way people look when they're reading something inside their own skull. No one reacts outwardly. The city shows them punishment like weather, inevitable, impersonal, meant to teach. The bulletin shifts. Curfew, enforcement. Update. All units must be in residence by 2100. Late presence results in accelerated expiration. The words hang in front of Kara's eyes as she walks, a ghostly set of laws superimposed on concrete and steel. Her face remains neutral, not even a blink. The system notices. A small green checkmark appears at the corner of her vision. Viewing compliance confirmed. The overlay dissolves. The tunnel returns. Grey walls, cold light, the faint hum of electricity running behind everything. Kara approaches the platform. A tram glides in without sound, a sleek capsule of metal and glass. Its doors align perfectly with the platform markings. A soft hiss. The doors open. Inside, passengers stand at measured distances, each person framed by a vertical pole like an exhibit. Their faces are all the same calm mask, their eyes fixed on nothing. Kara steps across the threshold. A sensor above the door reads her chip, reads her face, reads her gait. A tone acknowledges her entry.
Transit access granted. Thank you for your compliance.
Kara takes her assigned standing position, blue square on the floor, number 7, and places her feet within its borders. The doors close behind her with a hiss like a held breath. The tram begins to move. Outside, the platform slides away. Inside, nobody sways, nobody speaks, nobody does anything that could be interpreted. Kara's chronochip continues its steady countdown, in the quiet red digits glowing under her skin as the city carries her forward. Chapter 2. Face Value. Part 1. Arrival and Airlock. The tram begins to move. It glides through the tunnel with the steadiness of a machine that never doubts itself. Light strips flicker past the windows, like the world is being measured in segments. Kara stands inside her blue square, feet inside the borders, hands at her sides, shoulders level. The other passengers are arranged the same way, human bodies positioned like inventory. A thin voice issues from the tram ceiling, neither male nor female, a neutral tone that tries to sound kind.
Approaching Civic Center, Departmental Sector. Prepare for disembarkation.
No one responds, no one needs to. The tram slows with the gentleness of something expensive. It stops exactly where it is supposed to stop. A hiss. The doors open. Cold air enters first, as if the building wants to cleanse the tram of breath. Kara steps out with the flow. The platform is immaculate. Metal floor, glass barriers, pale lighting that makes skin look slightly unhealthy. Above, a long band of screens cycles compliance messaging, each phrase blinking into the next like a prayer taught by repetition. Compliance is longevity. Order extends life. Neutrality protects the whole. Ahead, the department entrance. It isn't a door, it's a mouth. A wide glass opening with a narrow corridor beyond it. Transparent walls, white light, and multiple scanner arches in sequence. People call it the airlock. The official term is Intake Assurance Corridor. Kara enters. The sound changes immediately. The corridor dampens footsteps, dampens clothing rustle, dampens the small noises that remind you you're alive. A line of workers moves forward in measured spacing, guided by floor markings and soft, pulsing lights. The first arch emits a faint tone as each person passes. Face, verified. Chronochip, verified. Posture, accepted. Kara steps under it. A thin, cool light washes over her face. A grid pattern flickers across her vision for half a second as her implant sinks. A gentle chime. Citizen Vale, Kara. Department access, granted. She keeps walking. The second arch is narrower, a deliberate squeeze. As she passes, a whisper of air puffs from vents. Sanitizer, scentless, obligatory. Emotion compliance, scanning. For a fraction of a moment, Kara feels the absurd intimacy of it, the system reading her mouth corners, the tightness around her eyes, the tiny stories the body tries to tell even when the mind forbids it. The arch chimes again. Neutrality confirmed. The third checkpoint is a glass panel that briefly fogs, projecting a translucent rectangle in mid-air, public-facing, visible to anyone behind her. A red number blooms. Her time. 38 years, 119 days, 6 hours. The minutes continue to fall, but the display doesn't show that. It doesn't have to. Everyone knows time is always falling. The rectangle holds for 2 seconds, long enough to remind her, you are not private. Then it dissolves. A woman behind Kara adjusts her sleeve instinctively to cover her own wrist and catches herself mid-motion, freezing as if she has touched a hot surface. The corridor cameras watch that freeze. Kara does not look back. At the end of the airlock, the corridor opens into the department proper. Glass walls rise on either side like clean, indifferent cliffs. Etched into the glass, repeated at intervals, are the department's mottos, letters cut so deep they cast small shadows. Behavior is security. Security is life. Life is earned. Kara walks beneath them. The building's light flattens her into an outline, a compliant employee moving through a compliant space, one approved face among thousands. And yet, beneath the skin of her left forearm, the red digits keep counting down, patient and hungry, as if the building itself is listening for the smallest crack. Part 2. The audit floor. Beneath the skin of her left forearm, the red digits keep counting down, patient and hungry, as if the building itself is listening for the smallest crack. The concourse smells like nothing, not even disinfectant here, just filtered air stripped of character. People move along designated lanes, their shoes landing on subtle textured strips that guide cadence. The ceiling is high enough to feel like an argument. You are small, and this is forever. Ahead, a wall-length display plays a loop of departmental metrics. Not names, not lives. Numbers. Daily neutrality average, 96.2%. Violations processed, 14,118. Time deducted. Total, 1,904 years. The last figure slides upward in real time, quietly increasing while bodies pass underneath it. Kara walks past a row of glass kiosks where employees scan in. No one talks. Talking risks tone. Tone risks feeling. She stops at her assigned kiosk. A small lens aligns with her face.
Citizen Vale, Kara, confirm presence.
Present.
Confirm intent.
Intent. As if anyone here has another.
To optimize?
A chime. The kiosk prints a thin strip of polymer, her daily task allocation, then retracts it into a slot for her to take. The strip is warm when she holds it, as if the building wants to be mistaken for alive. It reads, Assignment, Emotion Audit Floor, Station 3C. Queue Priority, High. Supervisor, Lila. Therapy Referrals, 2, Pending Review. Kara folds the strip once, then again, and slots it into the inside pocket of her jacket, exactly where it is designed to go. A corridor opens ahead. 2 doors that part silently as she approaches. Beyond them, the light changes. Less open, more direct, like interrogation. The audit floor is a grid of workstations extending into the distance, each station identical. A chair bolted to the floor, a desk surface of pale composite, and 3 vertical screens arranged like a triptych. Above, industrial lighting casts everything in clean whites and grays, no shadows deep enough to hide in. The sound here is a low constant, ventilation, the faint hum of processing units, and under it all, the almost inaudible tapping of fingers against touchscreens, thousands of tiny decisions being made in silence. Rows of analysts sit with straight backs and neutral faces, watching footage of other people failing. Kara moves down the aisle to Station 3C. The floor markings guide her like rails. She sits. The chair does not squeak. It is designed not to. Her screens wake. The left screen shows her credentials. Vale, Kara, Compliance Officer. The center screen loads the first video. Flagged event, Priority 7. The right screen shows the deduction interface, sliders, categories, consequence ranges. A prompt appears, gentle and firm. System prompt. Maintain neutrality while viewing violations. Your face is being monitored. Kara's mouth remains flat. Her eyes focus. The world narrows to the footage. This is her job, to watch the smallest betrayals of the human body and translate them into lost years. The first clip begins. A street corner, a pedestrian crossing, 2 citizens waiting at a light, shoulders squared, eyes forward. One of them, an older woman, shifts her weight. Her lips tighten, then release. A brief exhale. It would be nothing anywhere else. Here, the camera flags it. A red grid overlays her face. Center screen. Micro expression. Detected, mouth corner lift, 0.8 millimeters. Likely emotion. Amusement. Low confidence. Context. Advertising display. Humor content. Kara's right screen offers options. Category. Emotional display. Public severity. Minor/moderate/major recommended. Deduction. 3 months, Kara reviews the frame-by-frame breakdown. The system highlights the exact muscle movement. Zygomaticus, a tiny tug toward a smile. The woman's chrono chip readout is pulled automatically from the network. 9 years, 22 days, a small life already. Kara taps minor and confirms. Right screen. Deduction. Authorized. 3 months. Notification sent to subject. Thank you for your compliance. The next clip loads without asking. A man in a market aisle reaches for a ration pack. Another man bumps him. The first man's jaw clenches. His eyes narrow. Anger. Minimal. The system marks it like blood in water. Recommended deduction. 2 years. Kara watches once. Twice. The man's nostrils flare. A tell. A leak. She confirms, moderate. Deduction authorized. 2 years. The next clip. A woman sitting alone on a bench receives a message on her wrist display. Her shoulders drop. Her eyes blink rapidly. Her face folds inward. Grief. The system doesn't label it as grief. It labels it as instability. Recommended deduction, 5 years. Therapy referral, required. Kara watches the woman press her palms against her eyes, as if trying to hold something in. Kara's own face stays still, but her throat tightens just enough to remind her she has one. She selects Major, confirms the deduction, and approves the therapy referral with a second tap. A line of text appears at the bottom of her center screen. Analyst response time, 4.2 seconds. Accuracy, 99.1%. Neutrality, during review, optimal. A soft pulse warms Kara's chronochip, an almost reward. The system praises her the way people used to praise dogs, for restraint, for obedience, for not making a mess of feeling. A voice slips into her ear, not spoken aloud, routed through her implant, intimate as breath.
Citizen Vale. Your performance remains exemplary.
Kara keeps her eyes on the screen.
Acknowledged.
Your emotion compliance score has increased by 0.1%. Continue.
Kara does not allow herself the satisfaction that would follow that sentence. Satisfaction is just happiness in a suit. She processes the next clip, and the next. Time deductions stack like paperwork. Faces twitch. Years vanish. The work does not end because the city does not stop producing people who forget, briefly, what they are. Minutes pass, maybe more. The clock in the corner of her center screen reads 7:39. A small notification opens on the right screen. Behavioral optimization briefing. 1 minute. Location. Debrief pod 4. Attendance. Required. Kara rises from her chair in one smooth motion, careful not to show urgency. Urgency is a form of emotion. Her screens dim behind her, already cueing the next failures for when she returns. She steps into the aisle and walks toward Debrief Pod 4. The hum of the audit floor pressing against her back like a hand that doesn't want to let go. Part 3. Mirrored walls. She steps into the aisle and walks toward Debrief Pod 4. The hum of the audit floor pressing against her back like a hand that doesn't want to let go. The aisle is an artery between rows of seated analysts. Everyone's posture is identical. Every spine an effort. Every face an agreement. Overhead, a thin strip of light pulses at a regulated frequency, nudging the pace of foot traffic the way the hallway tone nudged it at home. The building does not like improvisation. Kara walks within the lane markings. Her shoes land inside the pale rectangles printed on the floor, step after step, as if she's following instructions only she can see. On either side, the screens of other stations flicker with frozen faces, citizens caught mid-twitch, mid-swallow, mid-grief. Red grids crawl over them like insects. Kara doesn't look. Looking too long can become interest. Interest can become attachment. Attachment is a slow kind of suicide. Ahead, a corridor branches away from the audit floor toward the debrief pods. A glass sign hangs above the opening, debriefing corridor. Pods 1 through 12. Silence required. Facial neutrality enforced. Kara enters. The air changes. Colder. Cleaner. The corridor is narrower than the main concourse, designed to compress the body and keep it from expanding into itself. The walls here are not plain glass. They are mirrors. Not decorative, not flattering. Industrial panels polished to a cold shine, aligned so that wherever you look, you meet yourself. Kara sees her reflection on her left, then her right, then doubled in a panel ahead, then fractured in the seam where two mirrors meet. A corridor full of caravales, each one staring straight back with the same controlled face. A small line of text glides across the mirror surface as she passes, tracking her like a subtitle. Neutrality monitoring. Active. Tiny lenses are embedded between mirror panels, disguised as screws. Their black centers sit in the middle of her reflections like pinholes punched through skin. Kara's shoulders remain level, her jaw relaxed, her mouth edges pinned. She knows how she looks. That knowledge steadies her. For most people, mirrors are for vanity. Here, mirrors are for warning. A person approaches from the opposite end of the corridor. Another employee, same gray uniform cut, same badge strip, same careful pace. As the distance closes, Kara recognizes him by his walk before she sees his face clearly. Dax Furrow. He moves like he's counting steps in his head, not because he has to, but because he enjoys the discipline. His hair is cropped close. His hands are empty. His sleeves are pulled down far enough to hide most of his chrono chip, but not so far it looks like he's hiding it. They are still 10 meters apart when Kara's implant registers his presence. An automatic personnel tag, faint and silent. Employee, nearby, Furrow, Dax, behavioral analyst, adjacent. Proximity, close. Kara keeps walking. Dax keeps walking. Their reflections walk too, multiplying them into a small procession of identical bodies moving toward an inevitable crossing. When they are 3 meters apart, Dax's eyes shift, just slightly, from straight ahead to Kara. Eye contact is allowed in small doses. Too much becomes connection. Connection becomes dangerous. Kara allows the briefest meeting of gaze, a regulated glance, neutral, professional. In the mirror to her left, she watches herself do it. She watches her own eyes move. Then she sees Dax's face, not directly, but in the reflection beside her. His expression is neutral, perfect. And then, like a fault line deciding to show itself, one corner of his mouth lifts. It is tiny, a millimeter, maybe less. So small it could be a muscle spasm, but it's shaped like a smile. Not wide, not joyful, not warm. A smile that looks like a secret you're not supposed to know exists. Kara's stride does not break. Her face does not move. But something in her body responds before permission can arrive. A quick tightening behind her ribs. A sharp awareness of her own mouth. A sudden, unwanted urge to mirror him. The mirrors catch it all. Every panel holds her face up to her and asks with cruel patience, "Did you feel that? Did something happen inside you?" Dax passes her, close enough that she can smell him. Clean fabric, sanitizer, and something faintly human underneath, like skin that has sweated once in its life. As he goes by, his mouth returns to perfect neutrality, as if the smile never happened, as if she imagined it. But the afterimage remains, burned into her mind the way bright light burns into the eye. Kara takes one more step, then another. Above them, a small camera iris in the ceiling adjusts, tightening its focus with a quiet, mechanical whir. Not loud enough for most people to notice, loud enough for Kara. Her chrono chip pulses once, warm and insistent, like a reminder pressed into flesh. Kara keeps her gaze forward. Debrief Pod 4 is just ahead. Another door, another lens, another sealed room. But the corridor of mirrors continues to show her something she is not allowed to see. A woman walking calmly, and, in every reflection, a face that has just been noticed. Part 4. After image. A woman walking calmly, and in every reflection, a face that has just been noticed. Kara keeps moving. The corridor's metronome light pulses overhead, steady as a slow warning. Each pulse seems to land behind her eyes. The mirror panels repeat her from angle to angle. In one, she looks perfectly composed. In another, the tiniest tension shows at the corners of her mouth. Not a smile, but the memory of one, the muscles waking as if they've heard forbidden music. She feels it like a fingerprint on glass. She tries to erase it by force of will. Her lips press flatter. Her jaw loosens. Her eyes fix forward, neither hard nor soft. The trick is to become architecture. A second camera iris further down the corridor adjusts, then another. The mechanical whisper travels in a line above her, like insects crawling through metal. Kara does not look up. Looking up would acknowledge the attention. Acknowledgement is a kind of conversation. She reaches the panel, marked POD4. It is set into the wall without a frame, seamless as a sealed wound. A small lens sits at eye level. As Kara stops in front of it, the lens brightens, an almost invisible ring of light. A voice speaks from nowhere and everywhere, routed through the corridor speakers in a gentle tone that feels like a hand on your shoulder you never agreed to.
Citizen Vale, prepare for evaluation.
Kara lifts her chin a fraction, aligning with the lens. A thin grid of light sweeps across her face. Horizontal lines, then vertical, then a final diagonal pass that feels irrationally like being cut. A translucent overlay appears on the mirror panel beside the door, so she cannot avoid seeing it. Emotion compliance, live check. Micro expression, sensitivity, high. Result, pending. Kara's throat tightens. She corrects the tightness immediately by swallowing. Slow, controlled, minimal. The system notices the swallow anyway. The overlay updates. Muscle event, submandibular engagement. Likely cause, swallow, benign. Flag, none. The camera iris above her whirs again, tightening further. Kara's chronochip ticks down another minute beneath her skin, glowing red like a small patient threat. She holds still. The overlay lingers longer than it should. 2 seconds, 3, then, result, accepted. Neutrality, within parameters. The door panel slides open. Cold air spills out from the pod as if the room inside has been waiting without breathing. Kara steps forward. As she crosses the threshold, the mirror corridor catches one last angle of her face. For an instant, the reflection shows something she can't fully control. Not an emotion. Not yet. Just the faintest widening of her eyes. An alertness that looks too much like interest. The door seals behind her with a soft, airtight click. The pod is small and white and overlit. A single chair sits in the center, bolted to the floor, facing a wall display. The walls are smooth, unbroken, except for tiny pinholes, microphones, sensors, vents. The air smells like plastic and cold metal. Kara sits in the chair exactly as instructed by the floor markings, hands on her thighs, feet flat, spine straight. The wall display wakes. A pale interface appears, then resolves into a softly smiling face. Too friendly, too warm for this world. Leela. Her expression is the kind of expression people used to call reassuring. Here, it feels obscene.
Citizen Vale. This briefing concerns recent department-wide compliance deviations.
Kara's face remains neutral.
Acknowledged.
Lila's eyes blink, slowly, theatrically, like an imitation of patience.
Before we proceed, a routine question. Are you experiencing any unauthorized internal states?
The wording is gentle. The meaning is not. Kara looks at the screen. She keeps her mouth still, her eyes still, her breathing measured.
No.
A pause. The sensors in the walls listen to the shape of her voice for tremor, for heat, for the slightest hint that the answer cost her something.
Thank you.
The display shifts. A list of overnight violations scrolls down. Names, timestamps, facial snapshots, years deducted. Howell's name appears again, highlighted. Kara watches without reaction. But behind her ribs, the afterimage of Dax's smile clings like a stain that refuses to wash out. And somewhere in the corridor outside, behind sealed walls and silent mirrors, cameras keep adjusting, narrowing their attention as if the building has decided she is worth watching a little closer. And now, a sneak peek of the next chapters of Obedient. She does not hurry. Hurrying implies urgency. Urgency implies fear. Fear implies you have something to lose beyond what the system already owns. But she also does not linger. Lingering implies thought. Thought implies drift. Drift implies the beginning of asking. The mirrors catch her from all sides. Kara watches her own face as she walks, checking it the way a person checks a wound through bandages. Neutral. 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 The corridor is empty now. No Dax coming the other way. No human error to blame. Only her reflections, repeating her into infinity. Above, the camera iris makes a small adjustment, then another. Each whir is quiet, but each one lands inside her like a tap on glass. Kara keeps her eyes forward. At the corridor's end, the glass doors to the audit floor part, releasing that low, constant hum, the sound of thousands of silent judgments being made at once. Kara steps back into the grid of workstations. The aisle accepts her like a machine accepting a part. She returns to Station 3C. Her chair waits. Her screens are dim, holding a frozen face mid-twitch. Someone else's failure, paused politely until she's ready to resume. Kara sits. Her hands settle on the desk surface. The center screen brightens. A system banner slides down from the top edge, pale red against white. Kara's forearm pulses once, hotter than before. She keeps her face neutral as the banner resolves into text. Thank you for listening. Remember, if you enjoy this story and the channel, like, share, and subscribe to help us keep bringing you these and so many other stories, just dying to be told, as long as the system allows it. Also, let us know how we're doing in the comments. See you next time for the continuation of Obedient.